Welcome to the Bay Area Business Podcast with Joseph Blackman. Twice a week, we highlight the people behind the businesses in the San Francisco Bay Area. Take your next step to success while being inspired by the journeys of others. Be great, be unforgettable, and be you. Put a big smile on your face as we begin the show. In 3, 2, 1.
All right, here with Dennis Costanza. Did I say that right?
Yes, sir.
All right, good stuff, good stuff. And you're a Pittsburgh native out here.
Yes, I am.
Yes,
class
sir.
of 79.
79. I'm a class of 2005. A couple years apart, but I'm sure
Being kind to me.
I'm sure we both drank out of the same water fountains and ran down the same halls, huh?
Yes, we did.
All right, so you're here at CYC. Go ahead and tell me about CYC and tell me how it adds value to the world.
Well, CYC stands for Community Youth Center. And in order of importance of those three words, it would be youth, community, and then center. Least important, obviously, but we focus on building better youth here at the CYC. We focus on 5 basic components, which are faith, family, sport, academics, and a positive environment. Now, we don't get into the first 2 components, which are faith and family. Those are very private and belong to the individual. We let them know that that's important, but we ask them to focus on sport, academics, and a positive environment, and that's what the CYC is here to deliver for kids. And we find that each child has a different balance of those 3 components, different needs, so we try to learn about the kid and deliver that to them. And we want the kid to come to the CYC and enjoy themselves, but leave better than when they came.
Definitely. So you spoke about positive, being an optimist. How do you instill that into a youth who might come from a broken home or a place of where it's not too glitz and glamour? Well,
again, I'm going to tie that back to why I'm here at the CYC, and we'll probably get into that a little bit later. But we want to develop in kids what I think is the most important component of an individual's ability to be successful, and that's confidence. Okay? Confidence. If you come from a disadvantaged situation, if things haven't gone your way, if the world seems to be against you, you still get up every morning and you still hopefully can make a decision as to your direction of where you want to go, what you want to do that day, and how that decision and those paths lead you to where you want to be. So in order to get up every morning, in order to trust that you're going to get out of a bad situation, you have to first trust yourself. And you have to have confidence. And the problem with that today, I think, is that gets beat out of people in many different ways. What I see most here is that the parents don't tell their kids enough they're doing a good job. You can do it. There's a lot of negative in this world. And we need to turn that dirt over, and we need to continue to tell people that they can do things. But you also have to be honest with them and let them know that not everybody's going to be the President of the United States. Set your goals high, try to achieve as much as you can, but at some point understand your top, where you feel comfortable. So that's kind of how I feel about that.
Okay, and you said a good word, a word that I really like and love, and that word is goals. So was it your goal? And tell me about how much square foot you had, because when I was walking up here, it was hard to find the front door. You got like a whole compound back here.
Yeah.
So was this a goal of yours to build out a whole court in Concord and have all these facilities for kids, or did you think you're just going to start small, maybe have a license to a field with a couple soccer balls and that be it?
Well, interesting enough, the Community Youth Center started back in 1981. It was really the brain thought of Ken Hoffman, who is the founder of this facility and is the board of chief chairman of the board for the board of directors and all that. I'm the president. I'm an employee. So this is a nonprofit center. I operate it as well as the Hoffman Family Foundation. We have joint philanthropic efforts going on, basically. But when you talk about the CYC and where it was and where it is today, It started in a garage. You know that commercial that you hear of everything great starts in a garage?
Yeah,
well, the CYC is no different. It was a boxing center.
Oh, wow.
And over the years, through a lot of hard work, through a lot of vision, through a lot of focus, through the leadership of Mr. Hoffman, and he was the money. Him and his family were the money behind the initiative. And 12 years ago, I joined the team, and we took the CYC under his direction and my execution from a club which had about 230 kids to now almost 1,700 kids.
Wow.
And how did we do that? Was it something we wanted to do? Absolutely. We wanted to grow. And we've done that by being intelligent about our deliverable, delivering a quality product. So when the kids come in, if we can't give them the best coaching possible, then we're not going to run that kind of a program. So what and your experience has been correct. We're kind of like the Winchester Mystery System. Winchester Mystery Center, excuse me. When you come into Galaxy Court, we've grown based on our programs needing more space. So we took over a warehouse, we took over another warehouse, we took over another warehouse. We took the tennis courts and we converted them to a soccer field. So we kind of keep our mind open to what the community needs and retrofit that to our constraints in our facilities, and we make it work. That's the bottom line.
Good stuff. And you said making it work. I want to hear about something that you've been through at your time here that was kind of a setback, a small failure that made you think like, okay, this is a serious business. So if you want to go into a little bit about what was a setback that made you a success today.
Here at the center, or in my life in general?
Here at the center.
Here at the center, okay. Well, okay. What I'm going to say to you on that one is, it's 2014. I think about 2005 or 2006, and somewhere in that area, I presented a proposal to the board of directors, and the proposal was, hey, we have these tennis courts. They're not being used by the athletic club, the Big C Athletic Club, which is the facility that we own. That's part of our endowment model. The Community Youth Center owns that property. There's about 2,300 adult members that participate there. But the tennis courts, I'd come to work every day and they're kind of vacant. Even to the point where I thought it was being misused a little bit, people sneaking on and such, and so it would frustrate me. Here I have all these kids that need something, and we're wasting space. So I got the board to approve changing the tennis courts into a soccer field. Well, we got to the board meeting, one thing led to another, and it fell through. It's like I walk into a meeting and we're doing it, and I walk out and it's not happening. And I was really personally and professionally thinking, what did I do wrong? I had this. I thought we had all the reasoning. But at that time, if you think back, there were a lot of financial pressures. Now that I look back at it, the economy was changing. We were going into the recession or in the middle. It was not. And I think the board just decided it's not a good time to spend $300,000. Okay. And looking back, I can see that. But I never let go of that. Okay, like I said a moment ago when we were talking about confidence and belief and strength and goals, I still believed in that.
You held on to it.
Held on to that model. So when Mr. Hoffman, again, the Genesis, who is 91 years old and still comes to work every day. Okay,
I respect that.
And I do too. I'm telling you, you can learn so much from people that have been through things. You have to, with an open mind, and you listen, and the challenge is really to listen to their guidance and find a way to make it work in today's world. Anyway, back to the soccer field. When he said, "Hey, do you still think that's a good idea?"
Like,
I said, "You damn squiggy," and boom, times have changed. The board was behind it, so we took that tennis court, which was not functioning, turned it into a soccer field, which now has almost 525 members in our program.
Nice.
Learning from soccer every day.
Yeah.
So setback, questioning yourself.
Yeah.
What did I do wrong?
Yeah.
How can I do things differently? Fine, but never give up.
Yeah.
Never give up.
A thread you were going down, and what I like in respecting leaders is self-reflection. You looked into yourself and said, "What did I do wrong?" Because you could blame the economy, you could blame the boss, you could blame the employees, you could blame everybody else, but you look into yourself. That's huge for leadership. I know that. But do you look at your competition at all?
Well, before we get into competition, let me answer that self question, and let me tie that to confidence.
Okay.
If you don't look at yourself, you're taking out a stream of input to your everyday life that you must consider as part of a solution.
Stream of input.
Okay, there are many facets to every situation, but if you're working on it, you're part of every situation as yourself.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. So you better get good at evaluating yourself.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a very quick story on that. A little personal, but it still applies to me today. The only person in my life that had enough confidence in our relationship to tell me this was my wife. And it was after we were married.
Yeah.
She said, "You don't make a good first impression on people."
I like you.
And she says, "It's not a real bad thing. It's that you're so passionate about certain things, and you like to do things a certain way, and sometimes when you first meet people, that comes off a little strong." And I thank you.
Yeah.
Because she said, "I didn't even like you when I met you at first at Los Madonnas College in some chemistry class or something, right?"
30 years later,
yeah. Exactly. But I took that to heart, and that's all part of self-evaluation. I ask my employees all the time, "What could I do better?
Yeah.
What did I do wrong?
Certainly.
Did I say something that upset you?" And not that I'm weak. To ask about a mistake that you make doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong.
Yeah.
Because you have to have the confidence to overcome your own deficiencies before anything else.
That's true. Man.
So, on that subject, now back to the soccer field. Using that confidence to complete that project and to realize that Ken, Mr. Hoffman, still had that vision and still had the confidence, and that the only thing that was preventing us from being successful was the time in which we had the idea, not the idea itself.
Yeah.
So that's when you kind of look back at yourself and you say, okay, maybe, don't know for certain, but maybe the mistake I made was I presented it at the wrong time. Should have been more aware of the economy. Shouldn't have put, you know what I mean? So you always learn. You always learn.
Good stuff. So, what is your plan for growth in the next year, next 52 weeks? What's your plans for growth? Do you want to grow?
We always want to grow at the CYC. We want to be in other communities. Our long-term plan is to be on the Concord Naval Weapons Station. That's 10 years away.
Love it.
But we, talk about...
Aren't the Raiders going there?
I don't know about that.
Beat them out?
We would like a little bit of NFL money to help us here at the center, that's for sure. And I think if the Raiders or any NFL team or any player actually saw what we did here, they would bend over backwards to want to help us, literally. So if you hear this, I invite you to give me a call and come and tour this facility when we have 400 to 500 kids in this center at one time, and you walk through our 45,000 square feet and you see coaches interacting with kids from rhythmic gymnastics, dance, cheerleading, judo, taekwondo, soccer, wrestling, boxing, conditioning, but most importantly, concurrently, 3 academic classrooms. 3. Kindergarten through 5th grade, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and 9th through 12th grade.
Beautiful.
With tutors. $31 a month. You can't go get tutor for an hour for $31. You can come here every day, Monday through Friday, and get a tutor.
Wow.
Get your assistance.
That's huge.
So that's good stuff.
That's a beautiful thing right there. That's huge.
So, back to your question. 52 weeks. What do I want to do? I want to grow. But we're limited on space. So if we're going to grow our programs here, we would have to acquire another building. we would have to build it out. It costs a little bit of money, which is not a problem. We just have to be smart about it. The other thing is we could run our classes beyond the normal hours that we have now.
What are your hours?
We operate from, let's say, 3 to 9 Monday through Friday, and 10 to 2 on Saturdays. But as part of the CYC deliverable, a lot of our classes, they're recreational based, but in every one of the programs, we have a competitive team. So those teams weekend and travel, and let's take our boxing program for example. We have 190 kids in our boxing program. About 20 of them are competitive, and they travel. As a matter of fact, one of our kids that has been with us for years and years and years, who is now an assistant coach for us, is fighting in the Golden Gloves National Championships in Vegas coming up. In May, I believe it is. So we have the kids on the ground level, the recreational kids, and we also have the elite athletes. Another individual that had come through our center, he is now, I don't know if anybody remembers Rulon Gardner, and how he beat the Russian in Greco-Roman wrestling, the only the only person ever to beat the Russian in heavyweight Greco-Roman wrestling, the Olympic. He's the guy that carried the torch for Russia this year.
Oh, wow.
Rulon Gardner, the guy that's the guy that's from the CYC is now the new Rulon Gardner, and hopefully will be in the Olympics. His name is Robbie Smith.
Robbie Smith.
Yes, Robbie Smith, let me tell you what makes the CYC great. As much hard work as that kid puts in, and at the level he is to be an Olympic level athlete, whenever he comes back to this city, he's out here helping our kids.
Beautiful.
Giving back. Giving back. And that's kind of what we want to teach kids. If you make it, if you're out there, you got to help others. You got to help others. Another young man that started here when he was 12 years old. His mother had psychological issues, and it was a tough life for him. Single parent, immigrant, had schizophrenia. He stayed here from 12. Graduated high school, went on to college, and is now at UCLA Med School. And attributes a high percentage of his success to those three components that I spoke about earlier, which were athletics, academics, and a positive environment. We were his home for him. We gave him that. And he gave back to us also. A wonderful kid. So.
Good stuff. So I can tell you're a thinker. You analyze things. What do you do now to gain knowledge to be able to better your future? Well,
you picked up on that because my formal education is in computers. When I was going to school at Pitt High back in 77 through 79. I worked for Dow Chemical in Pittsburgh, and I went to LMC and got an information systems degree from East Bay. And I went to Chevron, and I did a lot of computer work. And it was just really a kind of a weird situation for me to end up working with Ken. And I was switching jobs. So that's kind of why I have that analytical background. But when you talk about knowledge, I get knowledge anywhere I can. I read when I think it's appropriate. I'm not one of those deep readers, but I do read enough to keep me updated on certain issues. I get more knowledge from watching people and listening to people. And I think, back to the self-evaluation thing, I surround myself with people. I always try to find people that are smarter than me.
There you
Bigger,
go.
Better, faster, stronger.
If you're the smartest man in the room, you're in the wrong room.
You're in the wrong room. That's exactly right. And I agree with that. Because when you bring a bunch of people together, that doesn't make it successful. You still have to have someone lead them. And I love leading smart people, because if you get 4 people in a room to solve a problem, they're going to do better than one person.
Exactly.
And so where I get my knowledge, I get it from my peers, I get it from my employees, I get it from my superiors. I really like talking to people that have been around and run businesses and have failed and succeeded. I speak to my brother-in-law, Mike Barbanica, a lot. He owns 3 Remax. Used to be a police officer in Pittsburgh. A very, very motivated guy. Failed, and now successful. And again, the one thing that he shares all the time is confidence. You know, if you keep going, you'll end up being okay. But I learn a lot from him. I learn a lot from Mr. Hoffman. I learn a lot from his daughter Lisa. She's a very, very smart lady, and they're very different people, but they're very. They each have something to give me as a leader, as my supervision. Our board of directors at the CYC, very intelligent people. Steve Gonzalez, who runs Conco Cement. Albert Sino, very brilliant guy. And these people, when I get in a room with them, unless I'm given a report, my mouth is shut unless I'm asked a question. And that doesn't mean that I won't participate in a group discussion, but you need to know when the floor is giving you some shine, okay? And when you're in a room with people like that, there's another individual from San Francisco, tax attorney Dick Green, a brilliant man. And when he's giving you guidance, you listen.
Soak it up.
And you hope to God that you can remember what he's telling you.
Take notes sometimes.
Exactly. So, and then I throw it down to the younger kids. My own, I have 4 kids, three boys and a girl, and their friends, and even the employees here. They give you outlook on life in a different way, things you don't even see. I can remember showing my daughter something on the internet, and she kept saying to me, "Daddy, it's right there." I was looking at the screen and couldn't see it, but it was clear. And at that moment in time, I realized things are changing and things are being done in a different way. That this 52, I wasn't 52 then, but 47 or whatever it was, doesn't see. And it's not because I'm not intelligent, it's because things change. So the younger generation has a lot to offer us, but you have to listen and you have to understand how to use what they're telling you. So how do I get my information? You kind of hit the nail on the head. Analysts take it all in and they pick what is best for the situation in hand.
Beat spit off the bones, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Good stuff. So you said philanthropic before. You give back. Tell me what you do to give back to the community.
Oh, my goodness. I got so many stories. I had a kid come to my front door the other day, and he was selling newspaper articles, and he's going to get a $500 scholarship.
You didn't even need them, huh?
$500 scholarship is what. And I said to him, "I'm not buying your newspaper because it'll end up on the front porch." And he got mad at me. "Can you please listen to my story?" I said, "No, I don't want to listen to your story." I said, "But here's my promise to you. Hold on." So I went into my kitchen, and if you hear this, I don't want everybody else running to my door, but I got a $20 bill and I gave it to that young man. I can't take it. Yes, you can. This is a gift to you. You take this, and now you only need $480 for your scholarship. But if you come back after you've been to college and you show me your grades, I'll give you some more. I'll help you some more. So how do I give back? I don't really have special ways. You help charity here, charity there. I like to give back to people in very unique ways. Another example is, in part of my upbringing, I learned how to do upholstery. So as I get older, as a little hobby, I wanted to get back into that. I went to go buy a car this weekend. And I looked at an older car, and I went and I talked to this young man about the car. And he was not a happy guy, and he's
a salesman. He's not.
No, he was just a guy with a personal car. Kind of crazy guy. He was not a happy. You could tell he was upset about something. And one thing led to another, and he was down on his luck. And he said, "This is all I have in the world, and I need to sell this car so I don't get on the street." And I said, "I'm not buying your car from you. I'm not taking the only thing that you have." I said, "But I will do is I'll try to help you get a job." So I asked him a little bit about his skills and what he does and what his requirements are, and I had a couple people that I connected him to. I don't know if it's going to work out. Okay? But that day, that moment, was me giving back.
And you probably changed his life.
I don't know if I did or didn't, but I tried. So that's kind of, when you ask, how do I give back, what do? I help everybody here at the center. I help my family. Other than that, that's it.
Good stuff. You're a helper. That's huge. You don't get to where you're at by not being a helper. Recommend one personal development book and one business book for our listeners.
Again, I'm not a huge reader, but the book, there's actually 2 business books that have made, I don't even know if the first one is a book. It may be a book now, but it's called The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People.
Yeah,
okay.
Covey.
That it may be a book now, but it was a class way back when that I took that what you learn in that class, if you apply those things, you will be successful. It's one of the most important aspects of that is just organization and being prompt and respectful. But anyway, that's one. Then there's a book that I read. It's called The Effective Executive.
Okay.
And I hadn't read this in over 20 years probably, but The Effective Executive by Peter Drucker. It's a very good book about business.
Peter Drucker,
yeah. And then a very simple book, and I don't know if I've read all 50 Truths. This is kind of more of a motivational thing. It's called 50 Truths Worth Knowing. 50 Truths Worth Knowing. And it's a very small book, and what it is 50 different life stories that people have actually experienced and put down, and it's how they've overcome certain things, and it gives you strength. In this world, I think one of the reasons that people lose confidence is because they think they're on an island, and they're the only one that has everybody has issues. Everybody's struggling in one way or another, somehow, somewhere. Nobody is perfect. And if you know others are struggling and that they came through it, that helps build your confidence because it lets you see the light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, so this book helped me do that. So.
Good stuff. So how can we find more about you and what you do? Do you have a website, internet, Twitter, Facebook?
I have Facebook. I don't check it very often. My friends get mad at me. CYC, the Community Youth Center, has Facebook. Okay. They have Twitter. Community Youth Center does. And our webpage is www.communityyouthcenter.org. And that webpage is in the process of being transitioned from providers. So if you go there now, you may see some outdated content, but keep checking back because within the next month or two, it's going to be final. It's going to be much better.
Nice.
Yeah, so
I'll put all that in the show notes. So here, the last question in closing: if you had a friend come into town and they were starving,
you know what I'm going to say.
What, the Mecca?
What am I going to say? The Mecca. How could I not say? I got to tell you a Mecca story. Finish your question so our listeners know.
The question would be, where would you take them to get a meal that best represents where you're from in the Bay Area? So, of course, we're both Pittsburgh natives and we're both familiar with the Mecca. After the football games, after whatever, you go to the Mecca.
Go to the Mecca. And let me tell you, when I accepted this podcast interview, I had no idea that you were from Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay.
This is a total coincidence. You could look at my wall and you can see the Mecca. There's a picture of the Mecca on my wall, the fountain. Yeah. Anyway, so a funny story about that. My wife has relatives in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh, with the H, yeah.
Yes, and I was on a business trip, and I was in Pittsburgh, so naturally I left a little early and I went to visit my uncle. Yeah. And he took me to an absolutely beautiful dinner on top of a hill overlooking 3 rivers. It was just gorgeous. Yeah. I mean, unbelievable. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is a nice place. So years later, he came to town.
To this Pittsburgh.
Now, keep in mind, he used to work for Westinghouse. He was a motivational speaker for the Penguins, I think, the hockey team, the baseball team, and the football team. He's a funny guy. Yeah. That's another story itself. He stutters, and he's a motivational speaker.
Beautiful.
He's amazing. Yeah. But he's funny. He's a good guy. Anyway, so he came here. Now, at the time, I probably had 3 or 4 kids running around in diapers and crazy. I had no money. And so I said, don't worry. Yeah. I got you covered. I'm going to return the favor and take you to the nicest restaurant in town.
He's like, what's this place?
And I call, wait, it gets better. If you've been at the Mecca, this is gone now, but you used to be able to sit at the Mecca at the big table, way in the back.
I remember that.
You don't... the old one before they remodeled.
Okay.
The big table way in the back. Now, if you sit at a certain seat on the big table, all you get to look at all night long is the bathroom door opening and closing. So this poor man, But what the Mecca has is great food, great people, and a lot of stories. So that's why I choose to recommend that one.
Good stuff.
Now there are some restaurants around here that for instance, Scott's Seafood, which is a different quality.
Yeah.
But if you want, the upper level kind of food, Scott's is unbelievable. And there is another, if you like to just go have a beer now and then, the Black Diamond Brewery.
Black Diamond
is my favorite. Okay. Definitely. They're over in Port Chicago. So those are, some of the other areas, other restaurants that I think are wonderful.
Okay, good stuff. Well, that pretty much wraps it up. I just wanted to say thanks for accepting the podcast, and I know our listeners will get a lot of valuable content from this. What you said, it speaks volume in self-reflection and then giving. I mean, it's huge. Just wanted to say thanks for everything, and I'll see you at the top.
Yeah, you bet, man. Thank you very much for having me.